Yo, yo, yo. What's up? What's up? It's me. It's your man, Johnny Main, here with my brother from another mother, Nick Wilcox. And we are here tonight, the Fantasy Football Show, talking a little preseason week 2, talking about our do's and don'ts in fantasy football drafts. Just here to get ready to have a good time, man. How you doing, bro?
Man, you know that feeling, right? We're in New England, right? You know that feeling, right? Where it's like summer is about to be over. That's sad. But you know, you start getting hyped for the football season. You start getting your drip ready for your game one. Like you got your drafts happening, like about to have your beer in hand, like it's about to go down. Like starting to get really hyped now for real. So just ready for this season to actually pop off now.
It felt like that up here, bro. It felt like that this morning, man. It was cold. It was like cool. It was crisp. I was like, oh man. I was like, it's here, bro. It's here.
Yeah, for real, yo. What up, Frank in the chat? What up, my guy? Appreciate you always coming through. And we'll see you tomorrow, by the way. The Fantasy Football Show, fantasy drafts, do's and don'ts. We got the preseason week 2 takeaways and some analysis in terms of injuries, news in general. We've heard some Commanders news we'll get into. We heard some Devon Achane news we'll get into. So let's get right to it. News around the league. Let's go and let's get it. So we're going to be talking about the Brian Robinson situation, the Commanders in general right now. Last couple of days has been very interesting in terms of just beat reporters and writers around the Commanders camp talking about Brian Robinson in terms of being traded, and talking about Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt, which AKA is Bill. Bill like that Bill.
Not Bill.
It's so I heard new rumblings about this a couple of weeks ago. In a way, I just didn't know how strong this was, to be honest with you. So that being said, I mean, look. Brian Robinson, there's rumors about him being traded. Don't know exactly where yet. If he's going to get traded or not, who knows? But even if he does stay with the team, it just sounds like the team is really just not pleased with him in terms of like his overall running style. Like they say he's too timid, and this dates goes back to towards the end of the year, especially where he looked good against Detroit, but they were still like not pleased with him because it was like weren't really taking on a full-fledged defense in a way. You're almost taking on half of the team of backups defensively. So that being said, I mean, look, Brian Robinson potentially getting traded could put a wrench in some plans for us in terms of running back spots and situations. So looking around the league, if I was kind of putting my finger or pulse to if he does get traded somewhere, like I was curious if they do trade him with inside the division to Dallas. That'd be something very interesting because, look, hear me out. Like, it's more about it's because sometimes you trade guys within the division because you're not like whatever. You know what I'm saying? You're like, okay, well, we gotta get something for him, and then we're not really too worried about him in a way. So it'd be interesting to see if he does land in Dallas. Obviously a potential other landing spot could, if it's really cheap, Miami. We'll get into that. But there's other interesting places where no matter where Brian Robinson is potentially traded, he's going to be in a pretty much a time committee. The thing with Washington was I thought, in general that he could still be the 1-2 thumper there. But again, even if he's traded or not, this doesn't seem like he's a part of their long-term future plans for the Commanders. Just breaking down the rest of this backfield, Austin Eckler is going to be here and still in the mix. Remember, they still have Debo, who can manufacture touches too. So there's a lot of different ways this can shake. So we're just definitely paying attention to this in terms of how it all goes.
Okay.
Last episode, hey, we appreciate that. We appreciate you being live here as well.
Appreciate the love.
We really appreciate the kind words, Haywood, for sure. If you haven't, liked and subscribed, please do so. And follow us on Twitter. I like to call it, the young kids call it X. If you're on there. But going back to the Commanders situation, John, how do you feel about this whole situation? How do you feel it may break down? And what are some of the tea leaves you're seeing in terms of your thoughts?
Well, one of the things I've seen he was just a candidate to get cut too. I've seen that today, just on some stuff on X, just an insider that he could be a prime candidate to be cut. And obviously, like if you start talking about trading your primary running back, then obviously you feel good about the running backs that you have in your room with McNichols, with Eckler, and obviously with Bill. Brian Robinson, he's just to me, I've always just really thought of him as just a guy. I haven't ever thought of him as anything that was special. I know he's from Alabama. I think that's where he went to college at, and it was just kind of, it was just kind of as I'm rocking the crimson today, of course.
That's
Ironically
why
enough,
I was laughing.
ironically enough, but yeah, like he just hasn't, like the production hasn't been through the roof for him. He's about 4 yards a carry is what he's been his entire NFL career, yet to get over 1,000 yards. He did almost have 10 touchdowns last year. He had 8 rushing touchdowns. But yeah, I mean, I think he had like 300-yard games last year. Again, against subpar defenses, the Giants, which I think that's a place that you could possibly consider moving him to. I think they still need some help in the backfield. I know some people feel good about Cam Scatterboo. Kind of like, Tyrone Tracy. It is what it is. That's a place the Titans, he had a 100-yard game against them and the Cardinals. I don't know, man. I just feel like there's a lot of dismay, if you will, around the Commanders right now at this point in time going into the season. You have the Terry McLaurin situation with the contract and him finally just coming off the pup today. And now you have this situation with Brian Robinson. It just seems like there's a lot of things going on that aren't related to the football team getting better. But for me, yeah, like Brian Robinson, he wasn't somebody that like I had. I think like obviously if you went with like a zero RB kind of build, you could kind of land him later on in drafts. But for me, it's not anything that's like impacting me. I don't have a lot of Washington Commanders shares because Jaden Daniels is super expensive. And then Debo, somebody I'm staying away from. I shouldn't say staying away from, but just like not right situation for me. But like you mentioned, man, like now all of a sudden, like that backfield is crowded because you do have somebody like Debo Samuel who will and should probably get a few carries here and there. So Brian Robinson for me, I think I feel like it's a common theme whenever we talk about some of these players, but I'm going to let somebody else deal with that headache for sure.
So in terms of Bill Krosky Barrett, where do you feel? So I know, so in best ball terms, I was taking some Brian Robinson shares a little bit here and there earlier in the summer, but then cooled off. I have gotten a few Krosky Barrett shares here and there, but it wasn't like anything like abundant per se. Now it's like he's really steaming up. But in a home league upcoming for season longs, where do you take Bill Krosky Barrett right now? Let's just say tomorrow or next couple of hours we find out that Brian Robinson is gone, he got traded to wherever, or he got cut. Would you, in a different, depending on build, obviously, but where do you see Krosky Barrett in terms of where you would take him?
Well, right now, I mean, if you just plugged and played him for where Brian Robinson was going, you'd be looking at right around the 7th or 8th round right now is where you'd be looking. So
yeah,
I think
probably like the Tyrone Tracy,
like that's where it's at. So I think that's what it is. But again, like for home leagues and kind of casual leagues and things like that right there. Again, man, this is a name that people are hearing now, like they're hearing as a sleeper. Now is somebody that like you should move up, yeah. Right? Like this is what like
don't you love this? Don't you love
this?
No,
this is like no, this is what it is, right? It's like, and so I think you're gonna have people that are gonna try to boost him up. Yeah, like it's just that's just the reality of the situation, right? And again, like for me, like that kind of falls into a category where maybe people just aren't as familiar with the game and players as some of us that do this and kind of dabble in this space are. But I think that's really where he should be going because, to be honest, too, like couple things, man. Like number one, like we don't even know if Brian Robinson is still going to be on the team. Number two, like we don't know what Bill is going to look like against ones. Like we don't know anything right now. The only thing we know is that they do like him a lot, and the fact that they like him, all right, like that's cool. What happens if he gets out on the field and he doesn't produce, right? So I think it's a situation, right, where like you mentioned, it is about your build. And if you go hero RB or, you take 2 running backs earlier on, in your draft, and you get there to right around round 7, and you decide to maybe go tight end or quarterback in one of those, take one of those onesie positions, and now you can use Bill as like a RB3 or an RB4. I think that's a very comfortable space to take him at. But I mean, there was a lot of buzz about him. Earlier on in the season, earlier on in the off season. I know we were at the Scott Fish Bowl and he was picked there. And, our guy Doug Orth was talking about how much he loved him and didn't know what it was going to look like, but he really popped on film. And I think Doug is one of those guys that, you and I both respect what it is that he brings to the table. So that was a name at that point. I was like, okay, like this is definitely like a name I need to be paying attention to, and I need to be looking for a little bit more. But yeah, I think round 7, anywhere between I'll say round 6 to round 8 is what I would say for Bill.
Ooh, my goodness.
That's what I would expect. Ooh. That's what I would expect, man.
I know, because getting crazy though. It's
if you think about it though, like round 6, like that would be right around that space that like we talk about. Like it kind of gets to like the running back dead zone area. You start to get to him, the Tyrone Tracy's, the Jalen Warrens, the Scataboos, right? Like you start to get to those guys, so it would only make sense, man.
Yeah, I mean, I think recent draft I seen him go was 12th round, which was
when was that?
The other day. So like,
okay, all right,
technically yesterday.
Okay, all right.
So he went 12th round, which is not crazy. I think all bets are off in general after round 11. For anyone, for the most part. I do think if he starts getting to like that mid-8th, late 8th, early 9th round, and Brian Robinson's still there, that'd be nuts for some people. But I will say, like, I did like Krosky Mira a touch. He went undrafted, didn't understand why. And now he found himself with, this Washington team. So remains to be seen. I mean, East-West Triangle was somewhere where he overall, he killed it. 97 yards on the ground. So look, I mean, there was some talent there on tape, just didn't know how it was going to pan out. But I will say this. Commanders are just an interesting spot when it comes to running back, and I don't know if I want any parts of it moving forward in general. Because from a draft perspective, you're going to be putting if we don't know what a starter is, like legitimately, it's like you may want to take a stab at it, but it's also like, hey, I'm not sure if I really, want to, because there's other guys where it's like, solidified roles for. So remains to be seen how that goes. Other news around the league. Sadly, Devon Achane. Obviously the other day, there's news reports talking about he had his, a calf injury, and now Coach Mike McDaniel is talking about he's going to, not practice at all this week, which I think is smart. Really just get him ready for week 1. Similar to the A.J. Brown situation with the hamstring. It's like, just get him ready. Now, obviously, touching on the RB2 situation now is Jalen Wright, who was a running back people were taking very late last year in hopes that, there was going to be more of a split work in Miami with him. But he hasn't showcased himself much at all. And then in comes Ollie Gordon. Ollie Gordon, Oklahoma State, running back they drafted. And you can clearly see the talent there for sure. And you saw it this past weekend. So with Ollie Gordon, I think he could definitely find himself getting that RB2 role potentially. The biggest thing I will say, though, is that, I haven't moved on to Achane, but if his ADP drops a little bit, I'm going to get excited. I just, because, again, I think that there will be some people that get a little smooth. I mean, we already saw with A.J. Brown. A.J. Brown was going, maybe a couple of weeks ago, A.J. Brown was going, still around that 1-2 turn, the beginning of that second. I've seen him fall to the end of the second. So there's gonna be some things where I think Devon Achane, I don't think is gonna move that far. Right now, you're probably getting him at the very 1-2 turn, second pick of the second round at a 12 team. I don't think he falls more than the 19th overall spot. If he does, get him. But that's where I stand on Miami stuff. In terms of your viewpoint, where do you see things right now? Do you think Ollie Gordon is a good pick to take later on? Are you concerned about Achan's injury at all with the calf at all? Like,
I think like for me, when I look at it, I'm not overly concerned about Achan and the actual injury itself. I think I'm more concerned about like who is it actually going to be that's going to be in the running back 2 slot. My guy, Jalen Wright, he had a couple of plays that did come back for penalties. They weren't big plays that came back, but they were plays that came back. And some of the plays that he had, they were not for plus yards. So I think like that's one thing that goes against him, or people are looking at. I know some people are like, kind of mid on it. He's not a big guy either. Ollie Gordon, man, the third, former Doak Walker Award winner as well. And one of the things that did pop out to me just from watching the film today was just his hands aren't that bad either. Like his hands aren't that bad, and he had 10 attempts for 50 yards in this game here. Now, granted, a lot of this came against second and third stringers, but again, he's putting himself in an opportunity, giving himself an opportunity to be a short yardage kind of guy or a goal line guy, or even potentially if Miami gets up at some point in time, a guy that maybe they could lean on to maybe bleed some clock. So I think if you are drafting Devon Achane, I think you definitely have to give him some consideration, because if Achane does get hurt, then Ollie Gordon is going to have some kind of a role no matter what if Achane does not play. But I just think right now it's all about getting these guys ready. We were kind of talking about it a little bit earlier before we got on. Like, I know people hate the preseason, but I still am a big believer that some of these guys need to play, man. Like they need to get some reps, because like if they don't get the reps now, and I'm not saying Achane needs to get reps, obviously, if he's hurt, but just the players that are healthy enough to play to get some reps, they should, because whether it's week 1 or week 2 and they get hurt, they're still hurt. You know what I mean? So, but yeah, the Achane injury, I'm not losing any sleep over it. Like I'm still drafting him the same way that I would be, or that I was 2 weeks ago. So, minimal to no concern here. Now, obviously next week, it's a little bit different ball game. If next week, if we're still hearing, rumors about this, then yeah, like I will be a little bit concerned, but going into all my drafts this weekend, I'm not moving him down any based off of the reports around the lower leg issue.
Neither am I. So we're going to QB news before we start going into the rest of week 2 recap. We got news today on 2 quarterbacks. One, Matthew Stafford, the other, Joe Flacco. Matthew Stafford returned to practice today. First time in quite a while. This is good news for Devontae Adams, Puka Nacua, Kyron Williams, and the rest of that Rams offense. Otherwise, potentially, you would be looking at Jimmy Garoppolo as your starting quarterback for week 1. So everything looked, decent. The problem with Stafford right now was the disc injury. That was just making it seem like he just couldn't do many reps or throws or anything like that. So that's where, we'll get to that, Frank. And with Stafford in general. So, I mean, that's good news. Wheels up for some of these Rams. Some people can, relieve a breath, so to speak. But I think it's something to still monitor in general. The other part of this, Joe Flacco announces the Browns quarterback starter today. That's not too shocking because he's the stable veteran. The Browns have a pretty interesting, tougher schedule to start the year. So it remains to be seen how that will look. I mean, in terms of the Browns playmakers on this team, that's some stabilization. That's good for Jerry Jeudy. It's good for David Njoku. It's good for, Peanut Tillman. Shout out UT.
Not Peanut Tillman. Boy, don't you disrespect my man like that?
Oh man. No, I didn't. But anyhow, so that's overall with the Rams, the Browns. But Frank's talking about the Rams need to trade for Cousins. Oh man. Any thoughts on this this quarterback news in general for you, John?
I'm just probably still a little bit apprehensive about Matt Stafford. I'm still not moving the Rams players up or down. I think you obviously got a 37-year-old quarterback, back injuries. Just it's scary hours going into the season. I think we were all like, okay, like Matt Stafford, if he's healthy, then all these guys we have them rated where they should be as far as Devontae Adams, who looked like the biggest value. I think it's really big for Kyron Williams to be able to have Matt Stafford there. I think that would definitely change a lot of things for him. So I think honestly he's the biggest winner. Obviously the receiving, the pass catchers are, but I think to be able to get value back for what Kyron Williams does in his volume and what it is inside the red zone. And then Joe Flacco, like you said, man, that's to be expected. Like there's not anything really to say more or to say less about that situation. I think we all knew it was going to be Joe Flacco, and it's going to be him until they are 0-6.
Well, that's projections. I mean, you never know though. Like Browns can start off 3-3. You never even know. The good news is that for the Browns, it's like Joe Flacco's shown he's still like not completely washed or anything of that matter. And we have breaking news. Breaking news. Patriots are inquiring about Hendrickson from the Cincinnati Bengals. So that should be interesting. I mean, the only reason why I say that is because Cincinnati, if they don't get the job done with Hendrickson, they're just fools. And that just means high scoring games for us.
But like, does it make a difference if he's out there anyway? Like, they're still going to be giving up a gazillion points. Like, it doesn't matter. I think like this matters maybe for New England in their run game, maybe because they're getting another solid defensive piece. So maybe they are not in as many shootouts. For Cincinnati, it is what it is. I think for New England, like maybe that equates to Mr. Travion Henderson, the world's favorite running back right now. Yes, I agree. Do not send him there. But
please don't.
At the end of the day, they're both two teams I hate. So could care less about either one of them. So
just thought it'd be an interesting tidbit to put out for the news segment. But yeah, like Frank was asking in terms of if we're concerned at all about Malik Neighbors. And we actually ironically talked about that a little bit today. And he didn't make the list only because we're not concerned about Malik Neighbors. He's still a star-studded receiver in the league. We know he dealt with concussions. We know he dealt with lower leg injury last year and stuff, but he still balled out.
Yeah, he played through them all, yeah.
And now he gets a quarterback upgrade. So he's not dealing with, second string, third string, QBs right now. So no concerns about Malik Neighbors at the moment. Do I give him a slight ding right now in terms of being really picky about my first round pick? Yeah, a little bit. I've seen Neighbors go 6th or 7th overall, and then I've seen him get, drafted at the turn for 1-2 turns in 12 teams. So Malik Neighbors still a first round guy, but do I give him a little bit of a nick, just like I kind of do Puka Nacua at the moment? Yes, just because injuries, stuff like that. Those guys technically, in a way, Puka's a little bit more aggressive in terms of high pointing the ball and stuff like that. But like they almost play similar styles, so that's where I kind of give a little bit of like a ding, only because they're very talented, but it's more about like can they preserve themselves, constantly. So that's what my little worry is in general. But other than that, that's just me being really picky with my first round pick. Anything else, John, before we move on?
No, man, you got it.
Cool. All right. Well, week 2, the preseason recap. We got news and notes, certain players we want to talk about, certain guys going up in ADP, certain guys going down in ADP. And then we'll also get to the fantasy do's and don'ts for your draft. So let's get to the preseason recap. John, you're first up. A guy that we love in the channel, a rookie out of Tennessee, Cam Ward.
Cam Ward, man, my favorite backdoor stack in best ball, my favorite QB2.
The break glass stack.
Yeah, man. Yeah, like that's like it's my favorite. It costs nothing, man. It costs nothing. And obviously, I think everybody knows how big I've been on Calvin Ridley the entire offseason. So to be that big on Calvin Ridley, got to obviously believe in the quarterback play. And Cam Ward, just kind of taking a look at what happened during the game this week when they were playing the Falcons. And again, all of this, and I will say this all just with a grain of salt, right? Like, because we know it's not all the ones, it's a mix of ones and twos, and they don't have to start. But Cam Ward, I know the box score doesn't necessarily reflect like a big game from him or a solid game, 2 of 7. But some things I did see that I did like was just charted how many times Tennessee was in the shotgun. And one of the things that for me I like is to see him in the shotgun, because that lets me know, all right, good probability this is what we're going to see a lot of. He did take a couple of snaps under center, I believe 4. I think he might have ran 12 or 13 plays. I think I charted like 8 or 9 times out of the gun. Had some really good throws, man. And I'm going to butcher the guy's name like I always do. I'm terrible with names. I'm just going to call him EA Sports. But the kid from Stanford, Eric, what's his name? Eric
Alec Eminor.
Alec Eminor, yeah. I'm just gonna call him EA Sports. EA Sports, baby. It's in the game. I liked what I seen from him.
I'm sure you did.
Yeah, I like that.
Did.
And Calvin Ridley's had nothing but great things to say about Cam Ward as far as him being able to throw the ball. Yeah, and so like this was just like a continuation for me to say, all right, like I love everything that I'm seeing here with him. So I don't think we need to see Ayo, man. All right, well, listen, I'm the name butcher. If you want a name butcher, just give it to me and I will absolutely kill it for sure. Yeah, like I loved everything like I seen. I mean, like I said, I don't think the box score is always a telling stat. So even though he was 2 for 7, there were definitely a couple of throws that he made that were big time. They were right on the fingertips of wide receivers. They were catchable balls. So again, man, I'm continuing to prop Cam Ward up, especially in super flex leagues. Like he's also, again, like my QB2, QB3 for sure. Yeah, Cam Ward, man. I didn't mind what I seen. I didn't mind what I seen from him this weekend. As far as the Tennessee Titans and their quarterback play. What'd you think about him?
Yeah, Cam Ward, I love Cam Ward. He's someone like super flex QB2 pretty easily. And the biggest thing is like, have you ever? I don't know why we're not hearing more buzz about Cam Ward in general, which I'm happy about, honestly. Please let people keep sleeping on him. I just think he has a lot of good tools in the pocket. There's a lot of poise about the kid. And that will get tested.
Yeah.
But I do like the rapport that he is bringing to the table. I like his character in terms of like just being accountable for, oh, that's my bad. Like, or I missed this or I missed that, whatever. Say, no, all right, no, I got you next time, this type of thing. You love seeing that from the quarterback position alone, but you love seeing that from a rookie QB because that tells that you're trying to learn, you're trying to grow. There were some character concerns about him just a tad because of how he left the pro, his last college football game, basically didn't play like the second half of it. So that was something I kind of worried about a little bit coming into, this juncture of the season. But I do think he's doing everything right. And that's why I love most. Because that will serve him well later. As far as the Titans go, like they could be a team that, no one expects, but at the same time, like they have a decent core when you think about it.
Yeah.
Tony Pollard, Calvin Ridley, you know what I'm saying? We talked about, a veteran Tyler Lockett. We talked about, Alec Eminor. So there's Chickatagua. So there's a solid, core there in a way for Cam Ward to potentially rise up this Tennessee offense a bit. So I'm liking everything about Cam Ward, and I hope he can keep that up and consistently be consistent when it comes to that. Next, we're talking about one of your guys.
Yes, sir.
One of your guys.
Yeah.
Caleb Williams, baby. Chicago Bears.
Let's do it. Yeah. Like Caleb Williams. This was actually, other than watching the Steelers, this was actually the player that I was most excited to watch last weekend, or even yesterday, really, was Caleb Williams, just to see like where they're at. And like I was paying attention to a lot of things. I was paying attention to just like his demeanor, his body language. And you can tell that there is absolutely something different with him. And I loved everything I seen. It was, hey, if it was three step drop, ball was coming out. hey, if it was 5, it was coming out. There wasn't a lot of ad-libbing with him. The ball was going where it needed to go. And again, like, I think I put up something that, like, I think this is going to be a situation where it just, and of course, I'm just me, so this is just random, but rooting for Caleb Williams is almost like rooting for Drake, is what it feels like in the fantasy space. Like, no one really wants to see the guy succeed. Like, nobody wants to see the guy succeed. Wow. And not to mention that he kind of looks like him a little bit too. But, like, nobody wants to see him succeed. And if he is successful, then he's only successful because of, a ghostwriter or this or that. And Ben Johnson, if Ben Johnson is this guy's ghostwriter, then let's go. Like, let's go, because he's putting Caleb Williams in a lot of really good situations. And this is a situation where the stat box does actually reflect what we've seen. 6 of 10, $107, 1 touchdown, 130 QB rating. Again, granted, it's the preseason. A lot of vanilla defenses don't have a lot of, your stars out there, especially for a team like the Buffalo Bills, while the Chicago Bears, they had everybody out there. DJ Moore, the only player I think that wasn't out there, I think might have been DeAndre Swift, might have been the only one. But yeah, Caleb Williams, man, like, just to see like what it was, I was like, yes, I am here for every single bit of Caleb Williams. And again, this is a guy, because he is so polarizing, people don't like him and they won't draft him because of his personality and persona, right? And so I am totally cool with that. Yes, chat, talk about it. Ride with me for sure. I am here for all of it for Caleb Williams this season, and he is absolutely one of my breakout players this year. I've been saying it, geez, man, all off season, really. So he's one of my guys. So to be able to see what he was able to do last night in the limited snaps that he had was really good. And this weekend, going into drafts, give me all the Caleb Williams I can handle.
Yeah, I mean, Haywood talking about, yep, Ward, good sleeper. Williams is his or her. Sometimes Haywood is, could be a woman. Number 1 breakout QB this year.
I love it.
Take him late in drafts. The new coaching system. Yeah. I mean, Ben Johnson has proven that he can turn, what I'm saying? Take trash and turn it to, whatever you want. But yeah, I mean, ceiling, I mean, honestly, probably could push past 30 passing touchdowns. You never know.
I
700 yards on the ground, yeah.
I think it's all there. Like, it's all there. The 30 touchdowns is there. The 4,000 yards. Frank in the chat, my man. I love it. But you know what's so funny about this is Frank is that I think Bears fans are so spurned that, like, they probably just don't even want to believe what they're saying. So I just love the fact that you actually believe it. This is making my night, man. This is making my night.
Pretty sick. Yeah. I mean, look, so I think I just took Caleb Williams literally as my backup QB. Literally. And I'm like, this is crazy. Like second to last round. Which I'm like, what the heck? How?
Yeah.
So I don't know. But I will say, yeah, Caleb Williams, like, he's someone that I know he's definitely more your guy than mine, but he's someone that I could definitely see everything start coming together a little bit better. Just because they've equipped him with, good, more offensive weapons around him and improved offensive line. So yeah, I mean, all kudos to everything that's happening for Caleb Williams. Hopefully it definitely continues. Frank's like, I'm not afraid to be hurt again.
I love it.
Nice. Chargers wide receivers. So watching some of the their overall highlights and stuff like that, and also just some utilization reports, courtesy of fantasylife.com. When it comes down to it, Keelan Allen is going to be a factor. Keelan Allen's going to be a thing. He literally was basically being a veteran on that field. He was the guy in 2 wide receiver sets as well. Normally, Keelan Allen would be playing a lot more of the slide and stuff like that, but he's definitely more of the boundary receiver in 2 receiver sets. So I think that's a good thing in terms of rapport and chemistry for Justin Herbert. Having a guy that he's been there, done that with. Obviously, he did it with Ladd last year, of course, but Keelan Allen, veteran, knows where he's going to be, knows what's going to happen. So I think that was a very smart move for the Chargers to bring in someone like that, because that's just going to be able to, perfect your offense a little bit better. He's going to be able to coach up some of the younger guys, receivers in the roster. So yeah, I mean, I think it's a solid overall, way to just improve your offense. So there's that. Lambert Smith, he just keeps on making.
Oh boy, I'm
noise.
sorry to interrupt you, but Bill just spiked his ADP. He just found pay dirt here on Monday night. So yeah, you can take that round 6 to round 8 to the bank, baby. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Look at you taking a little mini lap already. But yeah, I mean, look, yeah, it's only gonna get higher for Krosky Mara, huh? What I will say with this is that Kendry Lambert Smith, he overall was the guy that was getting targeted a little early on in this previous game, and the other guys in his roster, when it comes to Trey Harris, when it comes to Quentin Johnson suffered concussion. Look, Quentin Johnson, man, is just kind of called it. Quentin Johnson was not, he wasn't a receiver that was a high point guy or anything like that. So look, man, I'm out on QJ, obviously. So yeah, I mean, look, that's where I kind of saw that. But Lambert Smith guy is starting to make some noise a little bit more. And I think the Chargers really do like him. He's someone I'll need to also make more notes on. Because if he can find himself in, being, running for that third receiver role between him and Harris, it's going to be interesting. Because I do think Trey Harris is also talented as well, of course. So maybe seeing how that will go. But in terms of the situation in general, like Lambert Smith, definitely a guy that I was starting to get a few more shares of in best ball in general. As far as a season perspective, I feel like we could just still watch that situation. I feel we overall can find a way to overall just watch for the waiver wire and see how that goes. If you find themselves more 3 wide receiver sets, if the Chargers start changing up their game plan a little bit more to start airing it out more, could be one of these interesting plays later on in the year. But yeah, Johnson needs a new pair of hands. Love it. he just, I don't know. He needs to play bigger. It's ridiculous. It's just so ridiculous. So yeah. But in terms of the Charger receivers, like Keelan Allen is definitely a value right now. If anything else, like grabbing him and like the double-digit rounds. Keelan Allen didn't exactly fall off a map either, last year with Chicago. It was just, again, just a bad situation when it comes to how he can overall, impact the situation a little bit highly. And again, him returning to a Chargers franchise that has adored him, going back to his roots. I do think Keelan Allen is definitely going on a value right now. Next.
Oh. Yo.
And we're back.
Oh yeah. Oh my gosh. Wait a minute. Hold on. This is one of my hometown league guys, man. He's here in the chat stunting on us here. Yeah, he won his championship last year. I think the first time in 17 years. So shout out to him. Yeah. As he's over here trying to snipe. So it should be fun.
Oh man, that's funny. Trying to snope you out.
Yeah, huh? No, he wants to know what's up. Yeah. So go ahead.
He peeping game. But Jaguar situation. So I've been in love with Tank Bigsby, taking him constantly. He was, going really cheap. And I just grabbed him at the tail end of the 10th round the other day. Feeling good about that. But in terms of the breakdown and how we're seeing things with the Jaguars, like we're seeing, all 3 of them in terms of, ETN and in terms of Bashan Tutin, they're all getting their touches. They're all getting some snaps. But according to the utilization report, Tank Bigsby in general, he is overall seeing 53% currently on the preseason. And that just comes with, again, having that thumper role, that first and second down type of usage. There's also, he also caught a 19-yard screen pass the other day. Yeah. So all the talk about Tank Bigsby not being able to catch, we'll see. But I do think that
he caught one pass, man.
He caught what? 19 yards.
He caught one pass, man. In the preseason. Crown their ass.
I'm not, no. I'm not crowning per se. I'm not taking a victory lap per se.
But you made sure to bring it up.
Yeah, because I do think, I'm not going to say he's going to be their third down back or nothing, but I'm just saying, he can catch passes. But it's in terms of, the situation right now with the Jags, ETN played 47% of the snaps of the starters, as counted for 43% of the rushing attempts right now. Again, like ETN is like, I really want to buy into ETN in a way, but it's also like, it's one of those situations where I feel like there's other guys that when they get, the 8th round or whatever, there's just better options, than ETN at that point, whether it be either at running back or receiver, or your QB or tight end, it doesn't matter. I'm just not in on ETN this year. Could bite me, but I'm
you don't think it has anything to do about just the play calling and just the situation last year, and you just think Travis Etienne, he just fell off a cliff and he no longer is good at football?
I don't think that. It's more just a price thing at this point. I think Etienne is still talented. I still think he could, he's just more of that receiving back. I'm not sure of his running prowess per se. So that's where, like, for me, I'm like, there's other guys around where ETN goes. I would just rather take a shot on. And that's where I kind of goes. I just find myself getting a lot of Bigsby, a sprinkle of Bayshon 2 in here and there. There's also rumblings that ETN could be traded, whatever have you. We'll see how that goes down. But I do see that, again, I think Bigsby is going to have a role in general. And if we expect this Jaguars offense to be more improved, there should be more scoring opportunities near the goal line. And I think Tank Bigsby can find himself in favor of that. He's a great running back for yards after contact. So that's why I really love about him too, because that's similar to, how Bucky Irving really broke out the second half of this past year. So that's all I got to say about that. I think Bayshon Tune can still find himself a role in this offense. But again, this situation situation in general could find itself a little bit more murkier in general. So on to the Jets running back situation. Oh boy. It's basically been literally a committee between Braylon Allen, Breece Hall, Isaiah Davis. Even Donovan Edwards has gotten there a little bit for the guy running back out of Michigan. So as far as my Jets go concerned, I have no idea what to exactly really anticipate in a way, because I do love Breece Hall. We talked about him before. You've talked about him before. It's just more about, for me, why I haven't gotten enough of him yet is because the price still feels like it's going to be like more of that committee now. And I kind of anticipated this because Braylon Allen the kid's 20, and the kid used to be a former linebacker, and now he's playing running back. Like, good Lord, he is everything and a bigger back that you want. So I anticipated that this was going to be, at least for the best case. I won't even say the best case scenario, but a role that Braylon Allen would have is to go line back easily. Now there's rumblings about Breece Hall at one point with his contract, and in terms of how they wanted to move forward. Could this be another Detroit situation? I have no idea in terms of that. I'm not ready to go there. But I will say that Braylon Allen will have more of a role than he did have last year, because he still was like that thumper, situational-ish back type of scenario. He could find himself eating a little bit more to Hall's usage. The concern I have for Hall is that will he be like a running back that's being constantly relied upon, or is it really going to be like this is Hall's package. This is Braylon Allen's package. This is also Isaiah Davis's package type of thing, where it's like it's really more of like the 60, 25, 15 split type of thing. So it remains to be seen. Breece Hall going the end of that third, that 3-4 turn right now, which is fine if he's your RB2, but if he's your RB1, yeesh. Wouldn't say yeesh, but there's potential. But in order for this situation to be more better from a fantasy perspective, we're gonna have to expect the Jets to score more offensively, and we didn't even account for Justin Fields. So there's a lot of angles that this can just go wrong. So that's probably why, like, I'm not as advertising Breece Hall this year, because there's a lot of ways this could potentially like not live up to his ADP value.
So you know I'm about to have to chime in because like I just
please go ahead.
I can't. First of all, it's the preseason, so like for me like the snap count and all that other stuff for all these guys, man. Like as far as like the running back room, like that's kind of like all right, like whatever. Like I think you take that with a grain of salt. You know, and I've said it before. Like if the Jets are going to be throwing the ball, Braylon Allen is probably not going to be in the game. He's probably not going to be in the game. That's not his game. Like he's not a pass catcher. And there have been, and maybe I am dead wrong, and maybe I have egg all over my face by the time this is over with. But there has just been a history of running backs very similar-ish to Braylon Allen. I will even go back just as recent as a guy like A.J. Dillon. Like A.J. Dillon being there in Green Bay with Aaron Jones. Of course, like you see this big physical specimen and you think, oh my God, like this is it. Like this is the guy. Like this, it's not. Like it's not. and I'm not saying Braylon Allen isn't, but I'm just saying like we're acting like Breece Hall is dead. Like we're acting like he's dead.
Yeah, I'm not acting that way.
No, I'm not saying you.
I just want to give Braylon Allen a little bit more credit.
Well, okay, but like, and that's fine if you want to give him more credit. But what are we giving him more credit based off of? What's the ground? What's the stance to say like, all right, like this is it?
Well, I mean, just again, being a goal line back.
That's okay. I'll let you go ahead. Go ahead.
Sure. I mean, like I said, in order for the Jets in general, like this offense, this nucleus, to be factored in more like highly regarded in fantasy, they'll have to score more. So you'll have to be in more positions to get to scoring more touchdowns. I do think Braylon Allen is equipped to do so. Merit, and again, we are taking the preseason, metrics with a grain of salt, but you have to look at new coaching regime, and in terms of they do like using these guys a little bit split right now. So I'm just going off the information.
Yeah, no, and that's fine.
So I'm not trying to give like Braylon Allen a trophy or anything. It's more about.
I'm not saying you like you in particular, but I'm just saying the general public. Like we're talking, and hey man, I'm just going off of what I got here, and like it sucked for Breece. It wasn't Breece Hall's best year, right? And we already talked about this. Like the Jets ran the least amount of running plays last year. Breece Hall last year, outside the tackles, phenomenal last year. Like he catches the football. Like he still was a solid back even when they were trailing. If we're looking at Braylon Allen, there's not even anything that even pops here. You're talking about a goal line back. Bro, he had 2 rushing touchdowns last year. He had 2 rushing touchdowns. He had the games that he had double-digit carries. He had a game where against the Patriots where he had 12 attempts. He had 32 yards, averaged 2.7 yards a carry. The Patriots, again, he had 11 attempts, 55 yards, 5 yards a carry. He then had 11 carries against the Dolphins for 43 yards, averaged 3.9 yards per carry. I personally don't know. I can't wrap my mind around like what it is that everybody's like, yo, like this is it, like this is the thing. And so for me, Breece Hall is like it's starting to become more of a value thing for me with Breece Hall because people are probably going to let him fall down the board because they're afraid of Braylon Allen. But we've seen it, and I'll even go obviously, like, of course, I'm so I'm even going back as far as like, like Matt Forte and Cedric Benson. Cedric Benson was a really good running back. He was a really good running back, but Matt Forte was still Matt Forte at that time, and that's many moons ago. And like I just use like the AJ Dillon,
It's a good analogy.
The AJ Dillon and Aaron Jones situation, right? Like there's just been, even like in Pittsburgh, like with Jaylen Warren and in that situation, James Conner and Lev Bell, like James Conner filled in for him, but like James Conner was never even close to the space that Lev Bell was at. Like he wasn't. Like Najee's time in Pittsburgh was probably better than James Conner's, like from a production side of things. So I just think that like I think the fantasy community just needs to pump the brakes just a little bit. Yeah, just a little bit. Just on this Braylon Allen deal, man. Yeah, I am on, baby. I am on.
Oh, man, yeah, that's funny, yo. Poor Cedric Benson, by the way.
Yeah, I know, right?
Poor Cedric Benson.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's a good analogy. I like that analogy. I just want to. I'm trying to, in terms of Braylon Allen, just try. I'm with you in terms of. I think the hype is getting a little out of hand in a way. Because that's people trying to push an agenda. So we're trying to cut through the noise a little bit. I just want to, for me, with Braylon Allen, I was really happy to have a guy like him ready because from a X and O's perspective, like you need a back like that. So that's where again, like I'm hopeful that it is more of like the 60. 60, like 35, you maybe have some Isaiah Davis sprinkled in, but I just hope it's not more of this, a three-headed committee, really. I don't really want that.
No.
Both from a real life perspective and like from a fantasy football perspective, like I don't want that really, because I do think Breece Hall is that talented. He can be relied upon. So again, I understand where you're coming from, because I think the hype's getting a little bit like that. Yeah. But I do like Braylon Allen as a talent in general. So yeah, I mean, look, I think Breece Hall still has what it takes. And yeah, if he falls, like if I'm in a build that where Breece Hall falls to me, yeah, I'll be ecstatic.
Wild that this man was the number one. He was the number one pick in some leagues last year. And now we're talking about this right here. This is wild.
That's what happens, though.
It is. I'm pretty sure he's like, maybe he's 24, maybe. Like it's wild to me. But anyways, go ahead, man.
Running back age, I tell you, man. Running back age. Yeah, he's all of a sudden an old man. Ricky Pearsall, someone that we talked about, Jaquan Jennings. We were on him earlier on in the offseason, pretty much right before the summer. We were, talking about, Jaquan Jennings and stuff like that, and how this Niners attack may look. And we were like, oh yeah, like we're on Jennings. Then the calf injury happened, and then he started to ask for more money. Not a good mix. The Niners just did that with Brandon Ayuk. Look what happened with him. So I have to say, get in your bag and stuff, but I also understand you got to be ready for the upcoming season to get more of that bag. So in comes Ricky Pearsall for me. The kid got shot in the offseason last year. Ricky is right. Ricky is right. I know. And yeah, Ricky had a crazy rookie year. In terms of, he finally got a little bit more involved later in the year. And the last couple of games, he started putting it all together. And what I got from that was literally just Ricky Pearsall is a different type of receiver than what the Niners have had in the last couple of years, where they're running more whip routes or running more, short intermediate routes with him. And those are going towards the sideline at times. They're going towards, right in the teeth of the defense. So, not to say they didn't have that with Debo or Jennings or anything, or even Ayuk, obviously, but those are more. With Ayuk, you're running more post concepts. You're running more deeper, patterns in a way with him. With Ricky, you're getting that more of that slottish, Julian Edelman, Wes Welker-ish wrinkle to this offense. So that's what I really like about Ricky Pearsall, because that produces on the field, but also in fantasy. And where Ricky Pearsall is going right now doesn't really make sense to me. He goes like end of that ninth round. He should be getting pushed more, but at least another round. So what I like about Ricky Pearsall is that, again, another year in the overall offense. He's a different flavor for this team. The Niners have the easiest passing schedule in terms of strength of schedule based on last year's average statistics. And I just love Pearsall in general. I think he could be a guy we talk about on a fringe, like lower end wide receiver 2 start every week, especially opening up the season. So that's where I stand on Ricky Pearsall. Pearsall, love him. He's definitely one of my guys. He performed so well at the end of the last season last year. He'll be a top 20 receiver. And I could see that route for sure. I don't like to always use like per numbers for last year because of the Gabe Davis situation that everyone loved to do. Remember that year? A couple of years back where Gabe Davis was being hyped out. He scored 4 touchdowns in the playoffs.
Don't even get me going again. Don't get me going again, because I'll start all over again. Yeah, I think and even with Pearsall, man, definitely Juwan Jennings. Juwan Jennings was the guy beforehand, but obviously the injury, I think that obviously has kind of slowed things down as far. Yeah, it slowed things down as far as where he was going, because I thought he was a really good value. And then there's also there's a lot of other dominoes that I don't want to say but are obviously in place, right? Just put here, obviously, the whole CMC factor, that was Christian McCaffrey not being there. So, those are targets that, now, if McCaffrey is there, are they allocated to McCaffrey or are they allocated to Pearsall? Then you also still have George Kittle as well, which George Kittle is, clearly right now, he's going as one of the top 3 tight ends off the board, 3 to 4 tight ends off the board. And then if Juwan Jennings gets back, I do think, he has given this, Pearsall does give this offense, a different look. For sure, because the receivers that they previously had, they were just chunk yards. That's what it was. It wasn't a lot of just target after target after target. They were just very innovative and creative ways to get the ball to those players, either in, like you said, hey man, deep post across the middle, gadget plays for Debo. Same thing with McCaffrey. So I think Pearsall, I can absolutely I don't hate him at all. I'm actually. I'm definitely a lot more open to him than I was before. Obviously, when the Juwan Jennings injury happened, it kind of was all right, well, hey, who's the guy that's going to benefit the most? And that's Ricky Pearsall. He's the guy that would benefit the most. And he started turning it on towards the end of the year. You could see what it was, man. He started if you started him in the fantasy championship, he definitely did you well for sure, with 141 yards and 1 touchdown that game. Against the Lions. So man, Ricky Pearsall, I got no beef with Ricky.
Oh Lord.
Yeah.
Love it. So now we've all been waiting for some tips in terms of what to do in your drafts for your overall home leagues. I know you got some upcoming. I know I got some upcoming.
Yeah.
What are some tips overall that you want to share in terms of some do's for your overall league,
some do's. Do know the scoring. And I say that, and you're laughing, but we've all been in a league where we get there and we draft or we start drafting, and then they start going through the scoring, and somebody goes, "Oh man, I didn't know it was 4 points for a passing touchdown." Well, the scoring has been there ever since you accepted the invite, sir or ma'am. So there's that. I would also say as well, have your players in queue if you are doing an online draft. Yeah, know the scoring. Have your players in queue if you're doing a draft online. The one thing that drives me absolutely insane is the timer is going. And then, oh, no, man. No, I didn't have time to make my pick. That's not who I wanted. Bro, what are you doing? Sis, what are you doing? Pay attention to the draft. Like, I tell people in my league all the time, man, like, yo, I ain't stopping it. Like, I ain't stopping it. Like, I'm not stopping it because it's so much shenanigans with like, oh, well, no, that's not who I wanted. No, I'm not stopping it. Like, have your players in queue, have them ready. That's it. Bottom line, end of discussion. I probably need to take my own advice on the third one. I got a couple. I need to take my own advice here on the dude. I think I'm getting,
advice.
Yeah, I'm getting a little bit better at it. Don't get absolute hammered before the draft because you're gonna have a terrible team. Like, you're gonna have a terrible team. Quick story. One year I was in a draft and this guy was gone. Like, so bad that like the girlfriends and wives had to like actually pick this guy's team, like, because he was so far gone. Like, just don't do it. Don't. I mean, it's fine if you want to. If you want to donate the money, you know what I mean, to a good cause, like, hey, I'm here for it. But just for, the people that are watching, like, don't do that. Be on time, man. Be on time. To quote the barbershop, be on time for something other than free before 10 o'clock to get in the club. Be on time, man. Like, don't have everybody waiting on you to start the draft. Man, we've been waiting all year long to do this draft, and now we got somebody that's late. Be on time, man. Be on time, please. All right. And then know that wide receivers are the wave. Like, wide receivers are the wave for everybody. The worst person in your league, the best person in your league, wide receivers are the wave. And if you don't know what the wave is, go to Urban Dictionary, check it out. Wide receivers are the wave, okay? Like, they're the wave. All right. Pay attention to the players that are being drafted, meaning, like, pay attention to the players as far as, like, if there's wide receivers that are going, pay attention. So again, like, you can have your queue in order and be able to make the right pick, right? And it's not like pressure for you whenever it comes time for you to make that pick. Be ready to go, like, know what it is, be confident, so that way, like, you can make a great pick for your team. Yeah. Here's another one right here. Appreciate it. Yeah. Getting in early. Wi-Fi, right? Yes. Chargers, depth charts. Like, don't Google the news while you're there on your phone. Like, don't Google the news. Like, don't be drafting from your phone, bro. It's 2025. It's 2025. Get a tablet. Get a laptop. We grown ups. Let's do this. All right. No. Then my other one is and like, I'll say, take this with a caveat. Whatever, man. Don't be the first person to draft a kicker or a defense, man. Like, just don't do it.
Don't be that guy.
Don't be that guy. Like, don't be that guy. Don't be that girl. Don't do it. Like, I guarantee you, on everything I love, there is probably a player that is out there that is better than the defense or the kicker that you are getting ready to take. I guarantee it. Please, for the love of everything I just said, those are some of my fantasy do's. Is that. Nick, what are your fantasy do's?
Sure. Well, I'm all in favor of talking shit. Talking mad smack. Literally, it's what, make a rivalry, like, make a fake rivalry, or make amp it up. You know what I'm saying? Make people hate you in a draft, whatever, because that's only gonna mess with people's psyche. So get people a little bit emotionally involved. Someone got a draft. I mean, eventually, James, but don't be that guy.
But somebody got to do it.
Don't be that guy that drafts a defense in the 10th round and with standard scoring. You know what I'm saying? Like, come on, with standard scoring. Like, come on. Like, don't be that person. But talk a lot of smack. Talk a lot, have fun. Whether it be you're with a bunch of random people you're just knowing, or some of your homeboys, homegirls that you've known for years. You have rivalries. You treat it like it's the challenge or Survivor. I like to kind of treat it that way sometimes. Where you're like, yo, I remember that trade you did with me last year, and you screwed me over, or I screwed you over, or whatever. You kind of bring that energy up. No, you told me that this. It's like, you kind of get that ampness going, because it makes it fun. It makes it exciting. But at the end of the day, just laugh about it and have some fun. So definitely talk some smack. Pay attention to the person that is drafting ahead of you and the person that's drafting behind you, because depending on what the builds are, you can overall try to do your best to gauge how that person in front of you is drafting, or that person in the back of you, and then a player that you may want to jump on before the turn pick comes back around to you. So a perfect example of this is that I wanted a certain running back in the draft, and I knew it would not come back to me. So if I didn't take that running back there, that player would have not came back to me. So it's stuff like that where it's like you're able to then take micro risk in terms of you want to take a guy ahead of ADP, do so. ADP is just average draft position. I'm not average. So don't be average. If there's someone that you really like and you want to grab on your team and you have a gut feeling that they're going to be it don't matter sometimes. Like, don't be egregious with it at times, in my opinion. But hey, grab your person, grab your people. We talked about that for the last several weeks. Like, go grab your guys, go grab your people. Because you want to have players that are going to be in great offenses, but also players you believe in are going to do great. So that being said, have your own tiers, what I'm saying, in terms of or like rankings or whatever, stuff like that. You don't have to copy, a Fantasy Pros or, RotoWire or whatever, what I'm saying? Like, just have some guys on a list, that you've done some drafts, like you maybe done some, mock drafts or whatever. Like, have some guys that, you are feeling that they're going to go here, they're going to go there. Now, granted, things go crazy in the draft. So understand that you have to be able to, move like water in drafts. But just be prepared to, maneuver when things may not always go your way, because, crazy things happen in a draft, especially home league drafts where people grab quarterbacks in the first round still for some reason. There's that. But yeah, also, be ready to pivot, move like water. And then lastly, you really want to, I like to call it, have your own like opening strategies. So in this kind of maneuvers in chess. So it's like your opening strategy of a move. So if you're drafting, at the back end of the first round this year, there's 16 to 17 guys in the most part that are worth, they could be interchangeable for the back half of like that, 16, 17 players. So like the 7, 8, there's like a lot of maneuvering parts. So it's good to know that, because now if you're drafting in the back of the draft, and especially a 12 team, you're getting at least 2 of those guys that can really do and set yourself up well. So what I mean by opening strategy means that sometimes you may want to open up a draft with a running back and receiver. Sometimes you'll want to go receiver, and other times you want to go running back. Depends on, we'll call those builds. The running back receiver I call balanced. RB is basically a robust RB start, and then obviously a 0 RB is a double receiver. So that doesn't mean you have to keep drafting that way, but it's something where it's like remembering to keep your options open depending on what you want to grab. And that just goes with paying attention to your draft. So that's where I like to kind of play things, because it's like if I look at, how someone had opened their draft, that means that there might be a player or two that they're not going to want or is not going to fit their build and what they're trying to do. And that means it could be in my benefit. So that's where that goes. But yeah, those are the dues for me in terms of draft position and overall kind of getting the lay of the land. Like I said, drafts can be very interesting. So come prepared. Like the best thing I could tell you also to do is to make sure you guys are either doing a crazy amount of mock drafts on different platforms to get a good consensus feel of what, most times where players should go, and or best ball. Whether it be that on Drafters, DraftKings, whatever, Underdog. Get a grasp, because those ADPs also are particularly more sharper in some ways. But that's where you can get a grasp for where ADP goes or whatever have you. So buy a round for the group shots. Sacrifice a little bit of money to get them off their game. I like that call for sure. Great call, Hollywood. I don't drink, but I bring plenty of drinks from my dear friends in the chat.
Right, baby. That's right. That's right.
I love that.
Oh man.
It's good to see James CEO in the chat, yo. Good to see you in the chat.
What up?
We've officially arrived because James is here.
Let's do it.
We officially arrived. John, let's talk about the don'ts.
All right. So, don'ts. Do not draft a player to trade them. Don't do it. Don't do it. Like, why? Like, what are you like? Why are you drafting a player to trade him to somebody? Like, if somebody's like, I never will. This was like, again, this was one of the greatest draft moments like ever. Like, I had this draft, it was an auction draft, and we had this one guy, man, he was a ringer. And man, like somebody just like actually no, he drafted all the quarterback. He drafted like 4 quarterbacks. The ringer did, and he was like, I'm gonna trade him to people. And nobody traded with him because they're like, no, you're gonna sit here and you're gonna eat these 4 quarterbacks on this roster and you're gonna like it. Like, just don't do it. Like, don't do it. It's terrible. Plus, you're missing out on talent. Just don't do it. Another one for me is don't worry about bye weeks, man. Like, I don't worry about bye weeks. It is what it is. I know there's some teams that have the week 14 bye week, and I know that's a little bit of a different game. But even still, like, I still can't worry about that, right? Because you got to put yourself in a situation where who knows, man? Like, maybe you're good enough that you don't have to worry about it in week 14. But I don't worry about bye weeks. If the players are there and they're talented, I'm taking them for sure. Nick already touched on it a little bit, but like, man, don't draft straight off a cheat sheet. Like, that should be like a tiebreaker or like just like a guide, like, right? Like, the speed limit is 45. Probably do 55, right? Like, it's the same thing. Like, man, like it's just a check sheet for you, right? Especially like if you're in a live draft, for sure. And then like projections. Projections are exactly what they are. This is what they're projected to do, the best case absolute scenario. This is with no linemen going down, with their quarterback not being hurt, without missing, like, best case scenario. So don't look at it and go, oh, well, the projections say, yeah, the projections say a lot of things, man. But like, if the projections were right on line with everything, then like there would be so many rich people out there because all we'd have to do is just simply look at the projections. Literally. Like, that's it. You know what I mean? Dude, don't be the person that auto drafts. Like, don't be that person. Like, don't be the auto draft guy. Like, oh my God. Man, hey, I used to ask partners back. No, man, I used to ask the partners back home. They was like, oh man, you know, it's like, no, cuz I'm just gonna let the computer do it. Why? What are we doing? Like, why are we what are we doing? Why? For what? Why? Like, what are we doing? Like, what are we doing? So don't be that person, for sure. Drafting injured players, like, be mindful, and this goes back to knowing your settings. If you have an IR spot, all right, cool. But if you're just drafting an injured player to trade him, again, like, bad business. Like, you are putting yourself in a hole. Like, don't do it. Again, I'm not perfect, and I know my flaws. So here's another one. Don't be a fan. Don't be a fan. Don't be a fan. Okay? Like, don't be a fan. Like, don't be a fan. Like, of course. Do I love Caleb Johnson? Yeah. Do I love DK Metcalf? Yeah. But the thing is I know going into every single draft, every single person in the room knows I love DK Metcalf and Caleb Johnson. And so what are they trying to do? They're going to draft him probably a round and a half ahead of what I would. And I'm just like, all right, well, that's cool. Like, so be it, because I'm not going to draft him a round and a half ahead of ADP. If it makes sense, then I'm going to do it. But don't be a fan. Like, don't fall in that situation. And the other thing I'll say is don't worry about your plan, because it's probably going to go off the rails. Like Nick was talking about, like the running backs and the receivers and like how you want to start off with a plan, like running back, receiver. Sometimes shit goes sideways, man. And sometimes shit goes sideways. And like you said, you have to be water. Like, you have to be water. So like, you can go into it having a plan, but if you go into it saying, I'm going to draft this player and someone better falls to you, Now you have just missed a player that is better because you have said, I'm going to draft this player. Position, like whatever, like that's fine. Stuff changes. Like you never know what's going to happen until you get to the actual draft and the actual draft start. So like it is what it is, man. Like just these are some of our do's and don'ts. It is what it is, man.
Definitely. And to add on to that, like with the injury and suspension players and stuff like that, like, look, when it comes to that, James talking about top experts get around 58 to 61% right. Have your own ADP.
Yeah.
Your players to draft. Every draft is different. Helps you go with the flow or against it. Helps you to review it after the season, become better fantasy manager.
Absolutely.
So true, though. It's so true to point out that like it's 58 to 61%. I heard 60% from Greg Kellogg. But yeah, that's
really good one. Like, yeah.
Totally. No, so that's definitely a great ad. What I'll add to the don'ts is, look, like coming with a pre-plan for your drafts and sticking to that pre-plan, because again, drafts get ugly. There's positional runs. There's people that sometimes do a little bit of reachy stuff like that. So look, like, don't just stick with a plan because you had a plan before the draft started. Goes back to our tip earlier about moving like water. You got to be able to move like water in these drafts. You got to be able to be adjustable. And the other thing is, again, don't draft injury / suspended players from a terms of unless they fall to a very egregious level in the draft, then it's like, okay, if you could take on if you have enough depth already at that position, you want to take on, for example, you started your drafts with a ton of receivers. You got a running back or two that you liked, and then Addison's still there for you. No problem with that because you planned in terms of hey, you could take on Addison if you really want to. That's fine. But already trying to draft Brandon Ayuk. I don't know why people are drafting Brandon Ayuk. He's not going to play till week 6. And by the time he gets full-fledged up and going as a receiver, it'll be week 10.
He should be after you have filled your starting roster. Okay, now you can start to explore that.
Well, no, even when you got your starting lineup plus 2 or 3 guys in.
Like I said, I didn't say draft. I said explore. You can explore it then. Yeah.
So true. So true.
Back.
Literally. And yeah, like I said, don't be the person that reaches. You know what I'm saying? Reach within reason. There's times where, if there's ADP / projection says this guy is being drafted at, pick 59 or whatever, and you pick him 39th overall, that's a bit of a reach. But again, if you really love the player and stuff, cool. But I recommend you don't do that constantly because you'll just find yourself with some players that by the time you hit week 4 of your season, you're like, dang, what did I do in the draft? But yeah, look, those are some of our do's and don'ts when it comes to some of your drafts. We appreciate everybody that came into the chat tonight, from Haywood to James CO, and Frank in the chat, of course. We really appreciate you guys. Please spread the word about us because we are off and running when it comes to the season, and we got plenty more where that come from. John, final thoughts, my guy, on this show this evening.
No, man, I'm just really excited because
sorry, Frank's got one more.
Well, actually,
I can add one. He says,
yeah.
He's like, no, if you have an IR spot.
Yeah,
no, yeah, good idea.
Good call. No, man, I'm just excited because draft season is here, man. Next week, busy week, man. I got my hometown auction keeper league on Friday night. I've got my hometown snake.
Don't get too drunk.
Bro, listen, no cap. I have not had a drink since the expo. It broke me.
Yeah, me too. It
broke me. It broke me. So I have my auction league. I have my hometown snake draft on Saturday. Sunday, I have another snake draft. I have a Sirius XM Do Good Listener League with Dan Claskins that I'm doing, and I believe I also have an auction. I mean, not an auction, but a keeper draft, not a keeper, but a dynasty draft. Sorry. Just like dynasty rookie draft. So, yeah, man. So I'm super pumped, super excited. We obviously, we're going to be right back at it again tomorrow, with Frank in the chat. So, hopefully we'll be able to get a link and be able to throw that out there so we can get, Frank in the chat. Some people to come over and check us out, like on his show. We talking a little bit of trade action, I believe, maybe a little bit more, maybe a little bit less, who knows. But yeah, man, I'm just like I'm happy to be here, man, and ready to go.
Word. Haywood's like, thanks for the love. The feeling is definitely mutual. Dig you guys. Good show. Next show. My first of 7 leagues is Saturday. Okay. All right. Okay. He said when I attend my first expo next year, my liver will come prepared.
No, it won't. Listen, whatever you think in your mind, it's 50 times worse. Like whatever you think in your mind. Whatever you think in your mind.
No, it's gonna be great. It's gonna be great.
It's gonna be a great time, but for your liver, it's gonna be 50 times worse, man.
Yeah, you won't get much sleep either. Ask John about the sleep.
Yeah. Need my
John about sleep. What sleep?
Yeah, y'all know how I get down.
They're pretty sale post one for sure. Final thoughts for me. Yeah, look, my drafts really don't start kicking up till next week. I had a phenomenal 12-teamer that just ended the other, late yesterday, and man, roster is definitely kicking already. And I can't wait to take some names, for real. But yeah, look, Frank in the chat. We on his show tomorrow night, 8:30 p.m. Eastern. So check us out there. We'll have a link out there, so feel free to follow us on X. And boy, last but not least,
get ready to have the bangers.
Oh man, no, I don't think they're ready because next week, tell all your friends, tell your family members, because we got Rich Rebar on the show next week, and I know he's gonna bring it.
Yeah,
I definitely know he's gonna bring it, especially John, because he brought him when he went in first last year at the Expo. If you don't know about that, I'm sure we'll share that story next week. And for those who don't know about that one, but Rich Rebar, famous best football guy in the community, basically broke down the Konami code, basically taking late round QBs that impacted what we're seeing today when it comes to the rushing floors and the rushing yards, and discovering that he's a phenomenal fantasy football analyst, breaking down things at a very, very analytical level. And you can check out some of his stuff on Sharp Football in general. And he's going to be on with us next week, and it's going to be a banger.
Guaranteed.
For real. So, again, if you're not following us on X, please do so. If you ain't liking, subscribing to the channel, what are you doing? But we look forward to seeing y'all. If you ain't on Frank in the Chat show tomorrow night, look out for that. But if not, see you next week. Rich Rebar in the house. Peace.